Aries. Aries symbol: you can feel somewhat restless, but possibly also deflated in spots today, dear Aries. It may be best to take the space you need and allow moods to settle. Aim to avoid abruptness with speech and movement. As well, watch that restlessness doesn't lead to wastefulness, particularly with money. Your interest in work and health is more robust these days with the Sun's transit of your solar 6th house. Today, the Sun is heading into an opposition with Neptune, and you can struggle with finding a healthy balance between work and rest or between physical health and mental/emotional health. There could be a disappointment or a misjudgment, and energy levels are up and down until you arrive at a healthy middle. You may need to tame some of your expectations and temper your energy to get there. Today's transits remind you to respect rather than challenge your natural body energy rhythms. Taurus. Taurus symbol: it's best to watch for hastiness and misunderstandings today, dear Taurus. For best results, take the space you need, allow moods to settle before taking on meaningful work, and avoid abrupt speech and movement. While it's a generally strong time for creative, expressive, and romantic pursuits for you, there are some challenges and ups and downs involved. A Sun-Neptune opposition is an annual event that reminds you to work on your expectations. It also wants you to pay more attention to your very valid needs to dream, imagine, and believe, mainly related to your social life. You may be questioning an uncertain or ambiguous situation related to a friendship, or you could be longing for a kindred spirit connection. It's best to remember that it's not a time when people see things clearly. If you're temporarily uninspired, you might benefit from taking a small break to refresh and reorient yourself. Today is not ideal for opening your heart or for taking a risk or gamble. It's a time to slow down and catch your breath, trusting that it's for the best. Gemini. Gemini symbol: watch for impatience that stems from irritation or ambiguity, dear Gemini. The Sun and Neptune are heading into opposition, leaving you a little vulnerable to ups and downs related to reputation, living, or career matters. You may not know where you stand on an issue or where you're headed, and these things can interfere with your motivation levels. It's possible that a loved one isn't entirely on board with your goals or lack of defined plans. You could be struggling with your intuition, so making the bigger decisions may not be wise just for now. In truth, your living conditions, relationship with family, and personal life are strengthening this month. The current emotional dip is simply a reminder to adjust your expectations or your dreams and goals to better match your current situation. Cancer. Cancer symbol: it's best to tame impatience today, dear Cancer, especially with movement and speech. You could be feeling conflicted on whether to attend to your interests and studies or manage social needs. As the day advances, we approach a Sun-Neptune opposition, and you can experience a bit of confusion or disappointment. Questioning your motivation or energy levels can be part of this, particularly surrounding communications, transportation, projects, and learning. It's best to be more vigilant with facts and figures or directions and instructions. Aim to dream and create, but be cautious when it comes to more practical or mechanical matters. If someone is trying to get a commitment or definite answer out of you, and you don't totally feel right about it, try to politely defer it to a more confident time. It's unlikely to be easy to get the information you need today. The events of the day may remind you that you need to take a small and refreshing break from overthinking. Leo. The moon spends the day in your creative sector, dear Leo, stirring your desire to express and enjoy yourself. You could be feeling restless, especially as the day advances, and if so, aim to listen to signals that you need a change of pace. It can be challenging to deal with anything that feels restrictive. At the same time, a lack of direction or temporary dip in energy levels can slow you down. There has been a stronger focus on the material and physical world for you these days. Today, your experiences may illuminate some level of spiritual discontent with the Sun heading into opposition to Neptune. There may be some confusion surrounding financial or intimate matters. Or, you might face a situation where you need to draw boundaries with others or cut down on activities that drain you of time or energy. Ultimately, this can be about paying more attention to your spiritual and emotional needs. On practical levels, avoid making larger purchases and lending and borrowing, just for now, until you see things more clearly. If you find yourself unsure about someone's intentions, it's not the time to push for problem solving, but it's a good time to examine your needs. Look for areas of life where your expectations may be so high that they put undue pressure on you or your relationships. Virgo. Your tolerance of situations that feel restrictive may not be very high today, dear Virgo. Others might introduce changes into your world that don't sit well with you today, as you're intent on following your own rhythms. Avoid taking on too much, too quickly. Transits these days tend to raise your spirits. In general, it's a special time for advancing your interests. Even so, the Sun in your sign is moving into an opposition with Neptune today, which can deflate you until you understand its purpose. You may be swinging from idealistic images of someone or a situation to imagining the worst. For best results, focus on the things you love instead of pinning your hopes outside of yourself. If you are unprepared or disorganized, any drama occurring now can feel worse than it is. Recognize that you are more sensitive on emotional, spiritual, and physical levels right now, and do your best to take a break from overdoing or overthinking. You may very well discover a significant need to connect to something spiritual or mystical to find more meaning in your life. Libra. The moon in your communications sector all day stirs your curiosity, dear Libra. As the day advances, someone may be touching a nerve. It may be better to avoid scattering your energies. There can be some lack of clarity to deal with now, particularly with what is expected of you and what you expect from others. Work and service are in strong focus, but it's not easy to deal with routine matters if you're not motivated or directed. There is a lot going on behind the scenes and you may not always feel on top of your game as a result of this general distraction. While energy levels are less than ideal, your intuition is highly stimulated and increased compassion can motivate you to help someone out or to provide a service. Consider that it's more difficult to accurately read people in your life at the moment. Similarly, while you might envision an exciting project today, it's not yet intuitive how to get it off the ground. Scorpio. You could have a difficult time taking directions today, dear Scorpio, preferring to answer to your own authority. Avoid shortcuts that can be costly for best results today. While you're in solid shape for your dreams, hopes, and social life these days, there are some ups and downs. The Sun heads into opposition with Neptune, and events today can remind you of specific unrealized dreams. This annual transit seems to spotlight what's missing in your life, yet it may be difficult to pinpoint, and vague discontent is the result. There may be some confusion in your relationships, desires, and attractions until you sort things out. The tendency is to seesaw between fantasy and reality until you find a middle ground. You might benefit from taking a break to clear your head and perhaps seek new sources of inspiration. Look for the beauty in your life in the present for best results now, but don't dismiss yearnings altogether since they can point you in the right direction with some moderation and common sense in the mix. Sagittarius. With today's transits, dear Sagittarius, it may be best to focus on what needs doing but resolve to spend more time doing your own thing when it's possible. Setting your own pace can help if you're feeling temporarily out of sync with others' energy levels. While it's a strong time of year for meeting your responsibilities and pursuing your goals, there can be a temporary dip today. The Sun and Neptune are heading into opposition, reminding you to align your goals with your current dreams or to pay more attention to your need for extra magic, imagination, or spirituality in your life if you've been ignoring these drives. It can be a slightly disorienting or confusing time. However, it might help to accept that you may not need to know everything for the time being. Ambiguities related to living conditions or arrangements with family or insecurities about your capabilities seem more prominent today, affecting the pursuit of your goals, career, or responsibilities. However, taking a breather to get into better touch with your intuition on these matters can help redirect you. Capricorn. You're likely to feel happiest and most adjusted if you are able to do something creative and interesting today, dear Capricorn. The Sun heading into opposition with Neptune can temporarily deflate or redirect you. You may have felt that you were sailing along rather smoothly, and you're now questioning motivation levels. Distractions may not be more plentiful, or you're more sensitive to them. Be careful not to commit or speak too soon or officially on a matter until the fog clears and you're certain of the facts. This transit tends to highlight your unrealized dreams or areas of discontent. It's a good time to reconsider or examine your expectations. Expectations can sometimes spoil perfectly good moments, so do your best to keep things realistic. However, if you've been ignoring your need for inspiration and happiness goals, now is the time to give them some attention. Take a break from overthinking things. Aquarius. Mars and Uranus are in minor conflict, dear Aquarius, stirring up feelings of frustration with restrictive circumstances and people. Haste truly makes waste right now. As well, the Sun is heading into opposition with Neptune, and you should aim to avoid investing time, resources, and energy into uncertain endeavors. For best results, watch for hanging onto a false, idealized image of a person, project, or relationship. It's not an ideal time to push for clarity, and accepting that the full picture may not yet be available to you can help reorient you. However, if you've been disorganized with money or unclear about your resources and capabilities, this can weigh on you. It may be better to take small steps to correct these issues. Pisces. Restlessness today can lead to distractions or shortcuts, dear Pisces, that may eventually cost you time and energy. With the Sun and Neptune heading into their yearly opposition, you may not be seeing people plainly and situations realistically. It's even more possible that others are not seeing you correctly, and you should try your best not to encourage this, as tempting as it may be, to avoid discomfort in the present. You may see holes in your current plans and visions, but they'll help you make further refinements. Today's energies tend to make your unrealized needs, dreams, and wishes feel larger than life, but it's temporary.